It's Bruins Benders post game live, and it's on the Inside the Rink YouTube channel. Please subscribe, and you can get our content all season long. You're with Maddie and Connor Green today, our beloved producer, as Smitty is at a Christmas dinner, Christmas party, one of those company Christmas things where everything's paid for. Good for him. I'm drinking my first ever old fashioned that we've made. I had my bartender make for me today. So, and it's a victorious one. It's a celebratory 4-3 overtime win for the Bruins today with another overtime Pavel Zacha goal set up with another great pass from David Pastrnak. Bruins come back from 3-1 down to win it. And I'll tell you that there were times tonight where the Bruins played really well and then off to a little bit of a slow start, but there were some really good signs as they continued to battle on. And they get the win.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was kind of following along with the game a little bit while doing some traveling around, listening to it on the radio, doing some pre-Christmas errands, if you will. My children don't watch the show, so I think I'm safe.
Good. Yeah, so Anna, good.
But I looked at the score when I first turned on the game in the car, and it was already 2-0. I said, "Oh no, this is not good." Not headed in the right direction against the Flyers once again. No. But hey, they managed to pull it out in the long run. It was another roller coaster of the game, which seems to be the story of this season, unfortunately for our hearts, but we pulled one out.
Yeah, it was a slow start. I mean, we've talked about starts with this team, especially with Montgomery. They've been better with Sacco, but today a little bit of a slow start, matinee game. You know, home game against the Flyers. The Flyers have beaten them at home already this year. And Matvei Michkov has a couple of goals, a really good rookie player for them, on pace for 33 goals on the season. I mean, he's had a really good year for them. So that, and they play hard. I mean, John Tortorella has them playing hard. So that's a matchup that you can kind of get bitten in a home game during the day against a hardworking team. And Philadelphia, to me, is overachieving anyway. I mean, they have the same amount of points as Boston for much of up until the last week or so. So they're kind of in the mix too in the Metro. And but the Bruins, they persevered. And I don't know what it is about Trent Frederick. I'd have to look back at that Blues game when he had 2 goals. If that was a Saturday afternoon, I almost feel like it was. But he had 2 more goals today. He's been playing better. And as you said in a group text, maybe it's time to send him right now.
Yeah. I mean, you've heard his name in the trade rumor mill for a little bit, and teams have been interested on him. He's an interesting player in the fact that he can play a couple of different ways. He can play a fast game. He can try to play a skilled game. Is he going to be able to keep up with players, like Kirill Kaprizov, David Pastrnak, players of that type? Absolutely not. But he also is somebody who has skill. He has hockey IQ. He just, for a lot of games, doesn't seem to show it. Right. And that's the real problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's for sure. He doesn't always seem to bring it. This year has been a really mostly down year for him. He had a couple of really good years in a row. He started to find his offensive game, started to find a real role in the third line. And then now this season, he started with the worst plus minus on the team and not a lot of offensive production. Now, I know the lines were mixed about by Monty quite a bit. That probably didn't help him. But he's starting to score kind of the goals he needs to score. He doesn't have a bad shot. He has a decent shot. And we had one today kind of in the slot, really nice pass, had it in the slot, made a good finish. Like, he can score a goal here or there. But what I really didn't love about his game is that he's not really playing like that rugged, rough kind of instigating style. And I think Bruins fans have the wrong, they want him to be a certain guy. And I don't think he's quite there. Like, I don't think he's quite that guy. I mean, I think he can be at times, but I don't think he is 100% of the time. So I think they have a little bit of a false sort of spot of Trent Frederick.
You saw it a few years ago when he had a few kind of kerfluffles with Tom Wilson on the Washington Capitals.
Right.
He went after him, took a lot of stupid penalties, and then all of a sudden the Bruins management and coaching staff was like, whoa, buddy, calm down. Like,
Sure.
you need to stay out of the penalty box and chill it out a little bit.
Right.
And ever since, he's not been the same. He tried to play more of a skill top six winger role where you feel that gritty third line wing is exactly where he's going to be. That's where he's projected when he was drafted. And one of the scary things, and the pleasure of working with you, Maddie, you're a fucking professional. You are absolutely right. Trent Frederick's game against the St. Louis Blues started at 1:08 Eastern time. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And that back.
Yeah. Right. I mean, that's, yeah. He started on time. Nice. Maddie's Sip tonight, as my bartender has chimed in. Maddie's Sip tonight is known as the Beast of Bourbon. 45 milliliters of bourbon. This is the Elijah Craig 94 proof. Chambord, 2 to 3 splashes. Some bitters. I don't know what that means. Angostura bitters. 1 to 2 fresh raspberries. 1 small wedge of orange. And flesh of orange, peel 1 raspberry. Hey,
oh, well, fuck, you've got fruit in there, so
good.
it's healthy,
fruity.
right?
It's fruity like me. Yeah, it's got some fruit. It's got some good stuff in there. So.
I just hope you know that saying fruity like me is totally getting clipped.
Yeah, well, that's my bartender's not surprised. But yeah, this is what we have today, and I have and just in case I have a vodka and club soda, just in case, I want a little bit of a variety.
Just in case you run out mid-show.
Just in case, right. So we want to talk about power play. Power play is looking better and better, gradually. And you were talking about Charlie McAvoy and having him want to shoot the puck more. And I think you had a good point about McAvoy in the power play.
Yeah, so going back to the Centennial game and listening to, the broadcast and Ray Bork kind of pontificate on Charlie McAvoy a little bit, and saying, he needs to get in there. He needs to shoot more. He needs to be able to contribute more offensively, especially on the power play. And I was listening to the game today and hearing him shoot on the power play. And I said, fuck me, him needing to shoot more as being one of the reasons or one of the ways to fix the power play. That is god awful. That is the only answer, and there's nobody else on that first power play unit with any offensive capability that can give more. Like, how is that not Brad Marchand? How is that not David Pastrnak?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, something's got to give.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, Low-Rye has done a good job. That second unit gets another goal today, similar to the Brazo goal. Low-Rye tries to get it toward the net. It gets blocked, but there's some action in front of the net. Like sometimes even a block shot turns into an opportunity, and it did today when Frederick pounds in the rebound. So it's just about getting pucks toward the net, getting traffic in front. It's work for Brazo, but I think more people have to be able to do it, willing to do it. And Low-Rye able to get a quick shot toward the net. It ends up in the slot somewhere, and Frederick, has enough sense to get the puck, rip it home. So I think that's more of what they need to do is look at it. It's been too reliant for the last couple of years on Pasternak's, left wing circle, one timer, and the bumper hasn't been figured out. I'd like to see them try Pasta at the bumper. How about this? A bumper goal by Matt Poitras last night with Providence in a really nice one right at the bumper where he shoots the puck from there and scores. So that might be something that if he continues to work on that maybe Matt Poitras can bring to the table, maybe not this year, but next. So they got to figure that out. If they really want to stick with this same plan, they got to figure out who's where. But I think for the most part, they got to get more pucks toward the net, more traffic there. They've only been outshot, I think it's twice in the Sacco regime. They're 7-2, and I think they've been outshot twice. So for the most part, they're out shooting opponents now. So there's definitely a concerted effort to get the shot on net.
Yeah, and I mean, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
That's 100% true. Right. That's 100% true.
I mean, that's the only way you're going to win the game. And for now, anyways, the Bruins aren't going to offensively dazzle you in any way. They're not going to, throw up an 8-2 win against anybody. That's probably going to be an absolute rarity this season.
Mhm.
So you're going to have to stick asses in front of the net and just throw pucks there and hope to God that you get some lucky bounces. And Justin Brazeau gets the T-Boz goal counter up there a little bit, and here we go.
Yeah, for sure. And then Brad Marchand gets a goal tonight. He's been playing much better. It looks like that he's found sort of a rhythm to his game again. Maybe not having much of a summer, sort of a shortened preseason really was an effect on him. And now I think he's starting to finally find his game. And the Bruins need that. If they don't have that, then they're in big trouble, especially with Pastrnak not playing up to snuff. So I think Marchand's resurgence here, especially since Sacco left. We can talk about two guys. Marchand's one and McAvoy's the other that are playing significantly better since Sacco took over than Montgomery. I don't know if it's a coincidence, but it just looks like it's a interesting coincidence.
Is it easy to get hot while there's a fire under your ass?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. I just think it's just funny. McAvoy is a prime example. Really good under Cassidy, not great under Montgomery, and getting to like tonight. He had another really good game, and it's just like he's finding his game again. It's something happened. It just seems to me that something happened with Montgomery in charge that just didn't fit right with McAvoy. If he wanted too much, or if he wanted to play a different way, or something, it just seems too coincidental.
Yeah, the way that I try to look at it with Montgomery is the Bruins built this team under Bruce Cassidy and his system, right?
Right.
So when they brought Jim Montgomery in, none of these players were really his system. He was trying to let them loose to play a different way,
right,
out of a revolt of the players, and that's all. And
right.
Then they realized, oh shit, we need to put our players back into the insulated system that they were grown up in Boston Bruins hockey. And now they're going back to a coach who coached with Bruce Cassidy and Claude Julien, who developed this entire system that the organization wants to play right now.
Right. Yeah. I think that's 100% true. And, Sacco's made some slight changes, especially shooting the puck on net. The penalty kill's better. The power play's getting a little better here and there. But how much of it is just the focus of the players and just the players finally just sort of getting out from under the whole Monty thing where he was a lame duck and then he kind of had some bad body language and then maybe they kind of knew he was getting done. Like you never know how it affects a team.
How many games do you think it takes until you're out of the dead cat bounce territory?
I think it probably takes, a good 8 to 10 games, I would think.
So we're getting close to if it starts falling off or they take off, you got to take it serious. This is
sort of the window where you find the motivation, you get some momentum. They're 7-2. The schedule was favorable. Like it's still favorable. Now you're going to Winnipeg and Calgary and Edmonton and, all these other places, Seattle. This is where it really is going to show you in the next, that 5-game trip it's not easy.
It's going to be brutal.
So if you can come out of there 3-2 or something, then I think you're fine. But if you're a 1-4, or if you really, hit a 5-game skid because of it, then you really start to wonder whether this team has it at all, regardless of the coach. Like the schedule was favorable for Sacco, which, look at maybe give Sweeney credit that he does it and gave Sacco a chance, to win some games. Like we talked about before Monty was gone, like do it at a time.
A runway.
Get yourself a run of wins. And here we are 7-2 with them. And then
so far
now
it's
they go
all
to
right.
Winnipeg. What's that?
So far it's all right.
Yeah, so far it's great, but they're at Winnipeg Tuesday. And that's that's going to be a tough one for sure. All right, let's go to some fan comments. T-Boss says, no start, no skating, no hitting. Can't win like this. Did I mention that Pasta's still playing like he needs to go by New Year well, he does, clean slate, Flyers rebuilding, the Bruins. And look at, you may believe that, but here's the bottom line. Bruins are never going to rebuild unless this completely falls apart. So David Pastrnak is going to be on the team for a long time. So the thing, though, that I really give Pastrnak the benefit of the doubt, give him a center who can make plays and set him up. Like, it's not all Pasternak's fault. And I know he's going to get a bunch of crap for it. And he's, way below his target of points. But it's not all on him. And I think that he's kind of lost his way because there's just not a lot of, like, he has good chemistry with Zacha. And you see it in the overtime. He just set him up for 2 goals in a row, 2 wins. So I think if you stay with those 2 guys, I think he's got a fighting chance. But, there's not a real good playmaking center. There's not a David Krejci there to help him. So
I think,
and he's not getting power play production either.
Yeah, but I think it goes down to what is he as a player, right? So, like, he has the highest contract on the Bruins. And as you just stated, he needs a center that can get the puck to him to make plays. He is not the one that's driving play at all. So in my opinion, you paid way too much for a winger who's, 1, not driving play, and B, is a winger. Now,
Sure.
Do I think that Pastrnak is a bad player? No, absolutely not. I'm not saying, yeet him off this team in a trade. But I think a lot of the hatred towards Pastrnak in some of his play is people have seen him score, 40 plus goals a season. And now his contract is astronomically high and he's struggling a little bit. And I think he's having a little bit of the Jeremy Swayman effect.
Yeah, that's true. And T-Boz also says about the worst power play coach in the league promotes the head coach. Expect what from your power play? I think the power play is getting a little bit better, but I still would like to see them make some more tweaks to it. The second unit has actually done some pretty good things. And I still think it's, with Brazo and Lowry, it just seems to be very simple. Lowry likes to shoot the puck, and Brazo likes to be in front of the net. Like, that's a good recipe. Like, so I think that definitely helps.
It's the meat and potatoes kind of hockey, right? It's your
just
blue collar hockey.
Mm-hmm. And they need more of that. They do. T-Boz's sip is Stag Batch 18. So I have Elijah Craig. T-Boz is at Stag Batch 18. Matthew Curtis, who do we have to fire to get the power play going? And look, I think it's a philosophy thing. I think they need to kind of change their mindset. Hopefully they learn something from the second unit. Like, that's really what the bare bones of it is. Like, they're treating Pastrnak like Ovechkin and trying to feed him. It's not working because they really don't have a power play quarterback type of guy with him. So it's just not working. And they don't have, Krejci below the goal line. They don't have a bumper to speak of. They don't have a guy on the point that can help them out who wants to shoot the puck. So it's really relying on Pastrnak, and I just don't love it. Sean Michael says, wife is tickled. Now he can enjoy the show after a nice comeback win. Saturday afternoon delight. Sean Michael.
A little Trent Frederick scoring in
hey, you got a Freddie. You got a Freddie in his. You got a Freddie going. When nailing Guinness whilst catching the early game, 6 p.m. start in Scotland is in Scotland. Might have to crack out the real whiskey and put your bourbon patter to shame. Go ahead, Wayne. We'd love to see that. The Rat says, I think we are back, and I would just say that, look, you can't do anything about the schedule. Schedule is what it is, and they've done pretty well. They're 7-2. So let's see this trip right here. Let's just see what happens on this trip. And if they, like I say, come out 3-2, God forbid, 3-1-1, 4-2, 4-1, whatever it is, like they come out with an above 500 record in this 5-game trip, then I'm with you. But I really need to see that. I really need to see what happens in Winnipeg Tuesday and beyond.
Yeah, this is where you're going to earn the paycheck. This is going to decide if the Bruins are selling off players and
Yeah.
people are going to be heartbroken when the Trent Fredericks of the world are starting to get peeled off this team, or if the Bruins are going to look to start adding. You never know.
Yeah. I mean, and look, I think where the Bruins would really have to collapse to start adding and selling guys away and all that. I really think they would, because Sweeney just doesn't do that, and they want to make the playoffs. I think the Bruins have every opportunity to make the playoffs. I think they will make the playoffs, unless they get a couple of really devastating injuries. I think they will, because the teams behind them just aren't great, and I think that's part of it. Like, I think they'll be third place in the division at the end of the year. I think they'll be slightly above Lightning, and then they'll play either Toronto or Florida, and we'll see what happens. They might beat Toronto. They won't beat Florida. I mean, I think that's what it really comes down to. Right now, the Bruins are at 33 points, 1 point behind the division lead, but with 2 games more than the Panthers and 3 games more than the Maple Leafs. And the Leafs play tonight, and the Panthers play tonight. So we'll see what happens in those games. Odysseys liked
McAvoy. Time out. You're skipping along the screen. Look who it is.
Smitty says, "Good luck, boys. Go Bruins. I'll have plenty of sips for you tonight." He will. They'll have some really good food and some sips, I'm sure. His wife will probably drive home, and everybody will be happy. The Christmas party. We're 18 days from Christmas here.
Time to live in it.
We definitely miss Smitty. Smitty did the updates today on X, so check us out at Bruins Benders. Some of those can be colorful. So, and we could do the Sorry John. And I'll tell you what, we have a Sorry John t-shirt that was designed by our very own Smitty. And this t-shirt is available for you. Get fucking bent. # Sorry John. 20% off with the code Sorry John. That QR code right there. Hit the Bruins Benders merch shop, and you can find that there for Christmas. Odysseys did like McAvoy's mental game, pasta transitions into Kucherov. Assist King, the captain produces, let's pay him. Pastrnak is a good passer. He always has been, in my opinion. Doesn't do it a lot, but he is a good passer. He has a good feel for the game. And that was a great play to Zacha. I mean, that was an even better play than last time.
Unfortunate. Your best offensive player and goal scorer on the team is your best passer and has nobody to really pass the puck to outside of Marchand, sure. But Marchand is really coming and goey.
Mm-hmm.
Not really feeling it this year. So, again, here's the conundrum of the Boston Bruins. You've paid a lot of money to David Pastrnak, and now you've put him on an island.
Sure, yeah, you have. Odysseys, go ahead.
Kucherov, just this comparison where Kucherov is the assist king. Yeah, he's the assist king because he is surrounded by phenomenal players.
Yeah.
That's not the same here.
Yeah,
We've
he
got
plays
Morgan
with Braden
Gigi
Point.
in top 6.
Yeah, right. He plays with Braden Point, who's a really good player. He is. I mean, he's surrounded by really good. But Kucherov is definitely an all-world player. I mean, he's fantastic. I mean, you could make the argument who's better. I might give it slightly to Kucherov, but he's just an outstanding player. Odysseys does agree with me that there's a handful of forever loser teams below the Bruins, and that's Ottawa, Detroit, Buffalo, and Montreal. Like, Ottawa, Detroit, or Buffalo have to sneak in above Boston. I just don't see it happening. Like, Ottawa has some young forward talent, and Ullmark was added, but Ullmark hasn't been great, and I just don't see. I think the Bruins will be more consistent than Ottawa, and I think that will get them over the hump. Detroit and Buffalo, not talented enough. So I think that Boston gets in regardless, really, unless they completely tank the thing and lose a couple of guys. I think Boston is better than those teams, and that's really what it comes down to.
I agree.
Odysseys, if the power play gets to the middle of the league tier, the top half need to watch out for this team. In playoffs, I don't see Zadorov getting calls. Fourth line will make havoc. Third, juggernaut. Give us a top 6 wing. Third line's been better. It was a real eyesore for this team for a bit. Fourth line's good enough in the playoffs, in my opinion. They need a forward in the top 6 to kind of put everybody back in place. And I don't know if they can get that guy. I don't know. And Tyler Johnson's not the answer. So I don't know who that guy is.
Like, so now it's all addition by subtraction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you are cap strapped to the point where you are going to have to send out to bring in. Mm-hmm. The Bruins already don't have a lot of assets.
Right.
I highly, highly, highly doubt you are going to get a decent impact player in your top 6 with the cap space that you have and the assets that you have, while having to overpay because a team is going to have to take a contract in exchange.
Yeah.
I don't see that at all.
I don't see it. And the Bruins don't trade roster guys mid-year. They don't. I mean, Sweeney has not done it. So they trade the Anders Bjorks of the world. Like, they don't trade roster guys. So I don't see it happening, especially if they're in it. I mean, they're a point out of first. Like, there's no need to for them now. So let's see. Going down the list here. Cam says, like that Sacco is being more consistent with Lowry. Made some mental mistakes today, but it's still the best D-man they have getting out of their own zone. That's true, I think, Cam. He's very fluid getting out of the zone. And as a second line power play guy, second unit power play guy, he's really good. I mean, he's good with the puck. He can skate. He can pass it. He gets the puck ahead. He gets the puck toward net. Like, he's a good offensive player. He used to play forward. So he's a good offensive player. He has those instincts. And it's definitely helpful. If McAvoy can be, better on the power play, then Lowry's a good second unit guy. Then you have a decent power play. But I think you need to make some tweaks in what your philosophy is on the power play. I really do, to make it more consistent. And I'll agree. Like, I said this last time, I'd rather have them have a really good penalty kill and then suffer a little bit in the power play than a really good power play and not have a great penalty kill. Like, penalty killing is where it's going to be. Like, they want a cup with a terrible power play.
They did.
I don't want it to be terrible, but if it's middle of the pack, then fine. That's fine. But it's the penalty kill that was disappointing for much of the year, and it's much better with Sacco. So that's helpful. Let's see. Gus Scalsa says Sunday was a turning point for the Bruins. Let's go Bruins. I just think that this week is really where it's at. They have to play good hockey on the road, way away from home against good teams. Edmonton, Winnipeg, they're in there. Seattle's playing better. Calgary's not great, but it's still hard to go out west. They need to play better.
It's travel, time away from home.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're on the road with the boys, hanging out, having dinners, doing some, team building events. So a lot of the times when teams are struggling, you also look at these road trips and say, all right, well, this is a time that they're going to go out, no distractions, be able to figure some things out. So you never know. It could go either way. You go out there, you have a great time, and you win 2 or 3 of these games, or you go on this road trip and it's miserable and you get stuffed at every stop.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's true. Odysseys makes a good point about Montgomery. We touched on this a little bit in the episode, I think. How much it was Montgomery's fault. I feel like no one really. I feel like people, had Monty off the hook completely. A lot of people had them off the hook completely. Now I want to kind of put him on the hook, and Smitty and I have had him on the hook a little bit. He's not the number one problem, but he was on the list by the end, and now you're seeing a 7-2 team since he left. It's playing with more conviction, coming back and come from behind wins and all of that. How much was he an issue? And I think Smitty and I have said this. He was more of an issue than people give the guy credit for or blame for.
Yes, because I think that his no give a shit attitude towards the Bruins, once he realized he wasn't getting signed and wasn't probably going to stick around with the vibe of the team.
Right.
the players also kind of gave up on this guy and are like, all right, if you don't want to coach this team, then we don't want to fucking play for you. Good luck. And then it was Don Sweeney sitting there wondering, hey, who's going to break first and figure this out? And lo and behold, nobody did. And he had to be the one that broke.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it really, at the end of it, the Bruins really were affected by him just focused somewhere else. Like, he knew he had the St. Louis job. Like, come on. I mean, this is not hard. He knew he had it, whether it was tampering, whether it was behind the scenes, whether Sweeney was in on it. Could be.
Was Sweeney even paying attention?
Right. Who knows?
Half the time with the Team Canada stuff going on.
Yeah, who knows? And Armstrong and Sweeney will work on a Team Canada together. It's just a kind of a weird, the whole thing's weird. And the timing's weird.
It's called collusion.
Yeah, it seems to be that I bet you, and he'll never admit it, it'll never come out. I bet you Sweeney and Armstrong said, okay, like, how do we make this better for both of us? And I bet you Sweeney knew this was happening and the timing was all set up. I bet you he did. All right, so it's Matthew Curtis that says, do we see Pastrnak back up this year? I think we do. He says he feels like this is the exact style Sacco wants to play, so I feel like one or more of the kids from Providence disrupts his style. I think you'll see Pastrnak again. I mean, there's bound to be an injury. I think you'll see him again. He's playing pretty good in Providence. Like I said, he had the bumper goal. He's playing better and better. I'd like to see him be more dominant in Providence over time, like consistently night after night.
He's playing with third line, right?
He's playing with Merkulov last night, and was it Merkulov and Lysell last night? Patrick Brown's the top line center. Don't get me started on it. Don't get me started on it. Like, 32-year-old guy playing. I mean, for Christ's sake, like, can we just have Pastrnak playing 20 minutes? Can we have him be the number one center? What are we doing?
Developmental league.
Are we trying to win games in the AHL? Great. Love it. The city of Providence is going to love it. Feel good for those people. But other than that, outside of Providence and Woonsocket and Warwick, Rhode Island, no one gives a shit. Like, can you just play Pastrnak 20 minutes a night as the number one center with the Providence Bruins? Can you do that? Please. Like, it's just insane to me that Brown and Tufte are on the top line and Pastrnak and Merkulov are on the third line. It's just, I don't get it.
Yeah, and I mean, the argument for me to not bring him up this year is to just leave him there. If you're going to play him with Merkulov and Lysell, leave that alone. Mm-hmm. If things go the other way and you trade players like John Beecher, Trent Frederick, insert player C, Morgan Geekie, right? Mm-hmm. You can bring all three of them up together and play them as your third line or your second line, whatever you want to do. You can combine Marchand, Lindholm, and Pastrnak, make them your second line, and then fill out the bottom from there. Because back in the day, the Anaheim Ducks, when they first drafted Perry and Getzlaf, they sent them down to the AHL together, and they brought them back up together.
Right.
And they played together for quite a long time. Like, I would love to see the Bruins make the decision that, hey, you guys are going to play together on this Bruins roster for a significant amount of years, we hope. Keep them together. Let them build the chemistry. Don't bring them up and play them with Justin Brazeau and Johnny Beecher on the fourth line. I will scream. I will throw things at my television.
I was just, T-Boz agrees with Connor. Pastrnak is a follower, not a leader. And I think that's probably true. And as T-Boz says, it's okay. And it is okay. I mean, he can still be a great goal scorer and do all the things. It just sucks that he needs another piece of $11.5 million. It does, but you pay for the goal scoring. That's the going rate. You pay for the goal scoring. Mikko Rantanen is thinking he's going to get $14 million a year. Like, pretty soon, Pasternak's deal is going to be a steal. If you keep signing these guys for $14 million, $15 million. And Rantanen's a right winger. He's a wing. Like, so as the years go on, that's a That's a better deal. We just need more from Pastrnak as far as the goal scoring production. Need more,
Now,
and I don't know how you get that.
11.5 million. Here's an interesting one after some recent NHL news. Igor Shesterkin signs for right around that 11.5 million. Who would you rather have, Shesterkin or Pastrnak at that cap hit?
Pastrnak. I would. I mean, I I don't think I don't want to pay the goalie $11.5 million, whatever it is. I don't. I mean,
That
I
was
think
kind of my
we've learned.
point too.
I think we've learned from Swayman that, and I'm not completely disappointed in the Swayman thing. I mean, it's fine, but I don't want to pay a goalie that much money. I barely want to pay Swayman $8.25, to be honest. So I don't. I think that's a ton of money. I think that's way too much money for a goalie. I think it's been proven that, I mean, look at Henrik Lundqvist. He never won a cup. I mean, I think we fall in love with the goalie a lot. Look, there's great goalies and they're worth some money, but are they worth 11.5? Are they like the one of the highest paid players on your team? I think
it's easy to fall in love with goalies and to pay a goalie this kind of money, because if you have a really good goalie, you're going to win a lot of games because they keep you in these games. And if you don't have a good goalie, you're fucked.
Yeah. Sure.
So you're like, okay, well, we're going to pay this guy whatever, and he's the most pivotal person on this team. Most of the time, the goalie in a market is pretty beloved unless your name is Tuukka Rask. So
yeah, it is. Beth says all the teams in the league know how to read Pasta, so we no longer rely on the one-timer. I think that some of that is true. I think he's scouted well, and the Bruins don't have a lot of other options. So I think that they blanket him. I don't think they give him a lot of opportunity. And I don't think there's players out there with him that set him up for those opportunities. So I think that all of that could be true. And then T-Boss says, for me to be fair, look at Monty's record in St. Louis. Tells a lot about the Bruins brass. I'm not saying it's Monty's fault. And I'm not even saying he's fifth at fault or whatever. But I'm saying that the way he handled at the end caused the team to completely tank. And he has some responsibility. I don't think he handled it 100% professionally. I don't. And people can argue it. It just looked to me that he just kind of gave up and sounded like it, looked like it. And I don't favor that either. Like, I don't love that either. Like, I get it. The philosophy changed, and Sweeney and the management was forcing him to coach a certain way or take players he didn't want or whatever it is. I get that, but you can still handle it in a professional manner. I thought at the end he wanted to get fired so he could take this other job, and it's hard not to believe that. It's just hard not to believe that.
Yeah, so, it really felt like high school kind of drama, and the girlfriend who gets dumped and ends up with the new boyfriend and starts talking shit about the Bruins as soon as he gets to St. Louis in a kind of backhanded manner. He didn't say anything directly, but how great it is to be a part of such a great organization with great players here, and I'm going to love the way that we play and can't wait to coach these players here, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Tell us how you really
think that's true. Yeah. JM says, go Bees. Thanks for checking in, JM. Black coffee is a sip for Dan Maynard this morning, who just woke up, it seems, in Australia. It was a good comeback win, Dan. Down 3-1, down 2-0, then down 3-1. Gave up another. Here's another topic. Gave up another late period goal, and it's funny, every time Swayman gives up a goal, Connor will just text us 8.25, like just that number. And look, again, could use a save there late in the period, like could use one, and didn't get one. And I still don't love the way he's playing. I think he's fine now, but I don't want him to be fine at 8.25. I don't want him to be fine. I want him to be better than fine.
You need to be at least good at 8.25. Like, I just pulled up his stats, his save percentage tonight, 885. Not good enough at over $8 million. Like, I am sorry. That is not good enough.
Nope. No, it's not. It's not good enough, and he needs to be better. It needs to be more consistent. I was actually surprised you didn't see Korpisalo today. So I thought you'd see Swayman to start and you may still, but I thought you'd see Swayman to start the trip in Winnipeg. And again, you might still see him, but I'm really surprised they're not going more of a tandem, like especially with Korpisalo playing fairly well.
Didn't they say that the tandem was going to come back?
I thought that Sacco made reference to it being kind of more even. I don't know if he exactly said that, but I think I thought I heard that he was going to do that. But I'm telling you, I really think the team's saying to Swayman, you wanted to battle us for more money or whatever in the last 250 grand or whatever it is per year, then you can play 60 something games. I really do. I really think they're like, you know what? You're going to keep playing. And, I think they really want to see if he can do it. And if he can't, then I think you'll eventually see tandem. But I think that I'm just really concerned if they get into a playoff situation, whether or not he can handle it and he'll be completely spent by game 65, 66 into the playoffs. I'm really concerned that he's never had to do that. He's never had to. So,
yeah, and this is the year to kind of throw games at him while you have Korpisalo there, who does have some starting, stretches under his belt when he was with Columbus.
Right.
If Swayman can handle it and turns things around and can bring his save percentage back over 900, maybe then the organization feels good enough to get rid of Korpisalo, bring somebody up from the AHL and kind of go back to the old school Yaroslav Halak 825 for a backup goaltender.
Yeah. I would play the tandem until at least the Four Nations. I mean, I would just do tandem until Valentine's Day or whatever, like up until then. And then maybe start to go more Swayman come March. I would. I mean, because you want, as T-Boz says, I think it was T-Boz says, Corpy needs more games before they fuck up his head. And I think that that's true. Like if he's playing pretty well, I don't think you want to sit him for a week and a half. I just don't think you want to do that.
And Dan asked here what Korpisalo's save percentage is. And his save percentage is currently a 909.
Okay. Good enough for your backup. That's decent.
Yeah, and Jeremy Swayman's is an 893.
Okay, so there you go. So why not play the tandem? I mean, and I wasn't a fan of the tandem, but why not do it?
Yeah. I mean, definitely the argument for it when you compare the stats side by side.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so that'll do it for the Bruins Benders post-game live. Thanks, everyone, for the comments. We'll be back at it Tuesday night at Winnipeg. It'll be a late night, so hopefully everybody can join us. But as always, and many thanks to Connor for stepping in. We'll have Smitty back Tuesday.
Absolutely.
It was good tonight, and as always, go Bruins.
Bye-bye.